Hello, gentlemen, and welcome to the Men Save Your Marriage show. My name is Terry. I'm your host. I did an autopsy on my failed marriage, and now I use the lessons that I learned to coach other men on how to save their marriage before it fails. I'm going to share with you the things I wish someone would have shared with me before my marriage failed. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hello, gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode. You heard the bell. That means it's time to step into the ring, and you are listening to the Men Save Your Marriage show. And this is episode number 11. Today, and welcome back, but today we're going to get into kind of a secret topic, and the title of this is The Secret to Communicating with Your Spouse in a Failing Marriage. This one is a really important one. I actually have what you would consider a secret, a little bit of a shortcut, if you will, to help. And I want to teach you a little something today. I'm not going to keep you long, but this is really important, and I want us to dig into this. So buckle up and let's go, shall we? Today, the secret to communicating with your spouse in a failing marriage. If your marriage is, you're listening to this because you're in a failing marriage or you're in a struggling marriage. And I remember when my marriage was failing and I was struggling, and it seemed like every interaction, every conversation was always on the knife's edge of blowing up into something it didn't need to be. And so as I went back later and started to do the autopsy on my marriage, I really started to dig into this because it was so much easier just to avoid conversation about anything just because of the stress and the struggle of it. And I didn't want it to blow up into an argument or a fight, and I don't believe she did either. I just think that we were in this place where we were struggling. So today I want to give you this secret, and I learned this some years later, and I want to share this with you. And if you will listen, and if you will utilize this the right way, you will almost feel as if, and you'll end up using this in all aspects of your life, not just in your relationship with her, but you're going to start to feel, and people are going to start to feel as if you are a super communicator. So let's dig into this good stuff today, shall we? How to become a super communicator and the secret to communicating with your spouse in a failing marriage. Because when you're in the midst of it, you know you still have to have hard conversations. We're talking about money. We're talking about our relationship. We're talking about the kids. We're talking about the future that we used to dream of together, but also the future what could come that could be horrible. So all of this stuff is kind of bubbling up inside of each of you, and that's part of what makes every conversation difficult. So when you get into a conversation, I want to teach you this technique. It's called looping for understanding. And I kind of want to dig into this because I want you to understand why this is the way it is and why we are the way we are, and then how you can kind of use this secret technique to kind of assist you in your conversations. As I said, every conversation that you have when you're in a failing marriage or when you're in a struggling marriage almost seems to be a difficult conversation. Almost every one of them, right? It's always hard. And there's something you need to understand. It's true in you, it's true in her, but there's something you need to understand about difficult conversations. When you go into a conversation and you think or you suspect that it could be difficult, somewhere in the back of your mind and your psyche, without even realizing it, and in the back of hers, you are always suspicious that the person you're in the conversation with isn't listening. It's just the way we're built. Because ultimately, one of the most significant things that we need to feel as humans is we need to feel as if we are heard. And it is even more relevant and more impactful when it's the most intimate person you've ever known in your life. It's also more relevant and more intimate when that intimacy or when that relationship with that person is struggling. And so we go into every conversation fearful that we're not being heard and they're not really listening. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Terry, you've already told me in other episodes that I need to make it a point that when we start to talk, to pause the game or close the laptop computer lid or put my phone away. And I hope you're doing that, and I hope you're listening. And you're right. That is a good first step to make her think that you are listening. But it needs to go a step further, and that's what this secret is, and this is what I want to share with you today. So this technique for looping to become a super communicator, and I know that we think we prove we are listening while she's speaking. That's why you close the computer lid or you put your phone away. But there's this technique, and it's going to help you eliminate that suspicion in her mind that you aren't listening. And again, you're going to find that you're going to use this in all kinds of aspects of your life. Once I learned this and learned how to kind of install it into my thought process and how to begin to utilize it, I use it in everything. I use it in business negotiations. I use it in work. I use it in any time. I have a conversation, especially one that has the potential to be difficult. And if you're listening to this, again, I know you're in a place where every conversation has that potential, if it isn't already. So this technique, looping for understanding, here's how it works. And I'm going to explain to you how it works, and then we're going to get into just 3 points about this, and then that's it. We're going to be good. So here we go. Looping for understanding. Here's how it works. Ask a question. This is after she's done speaking. Ask a question to make sure you understand what she said. Repeat it back to her in your words, not in hers. In your words, what you heard. Regardless of what she said, you need to repeat back in your words what you heard. And then ask if you got it right. And we continue this process until everyone agrees that we understand. So how does this work? All right, the first step, remember 3 points here and we're done. The first step is a deep question. So you're having a conversation, and I don't know, maybe you're talking about the children and you're struggling in a marriage, right? And so you're talking about the children, or you're talking about money. It doesn't matter what it is, everything. You need to listen to what she's saying. So you've closed the computer lid, you've put your phone away, whatever, and you're listening to what she's saying. And while you're listening to what she's saying, you really begin to interpret it into your mind, how you understand what she's saying. And then when she's done, you ask deep questions, whatever's necessary, okay? Make sure you understand. So okay, so wait a minute. When you said this, am I understanding you right? Is this what you meant? And then she can give you clarification. Well, yes, that's exactly what I meant. No, wait a minute. What you heard, no, this is what I really meant. Okay, good. You're clarifying it, right? So you ask these deep questions to make sure you understand what you heard is exactly what she said. Okay, that's it. It's pretty simple. Deep questions. The second part is to repeat it back, but repeat it back in your own words, what you heard her say. So if she's talking about finances and she's going on about something, you need to be able to repeat it back to her. But here's where you have to be cautious. You have to use your own words. This is where you have to kind of engage and use your own words to describe what you heard. Because if you use her words, she's going to immediately get defensive, thinking you're using her words against her. And it's typically classified as one of two things. More commonly, it's known as mirroring, because you use her exact words back at her, right? So if she says something, and I don't know how, just off the top of my head, I can't really think of an example, but if she has a phrase that she likes to use, and you repeat back to her in your own words, but you use her exact phrase, she may feel as if you're trying to mirror her. So you have to put it into your words. But here's the other thing. If you try to mirror her, but you try to mirror her with any kind of attitude or any kind of sarcasm, then it's going to almost come across as if you're mimicking her. Okay, so you have to be cautious. You have to just respond, whatever it may be. I don't know if she says the sky is blue, you can't come back and say, well, did I understand you right? You said the sky is blue. Just come back. Okay, hang on a second. For a moment, I thought you were explaining to me the color of the sky, and you were suggesting that it is blue. Now, that sounds silly, I know, and those are all of the same words are jumbled up in there, but I didn't use the exact same words that she used. So I'm not mirroring her, and I'm not mimicking her. I'm saying the same thing, I'm just using my words to say it. Okay? So first, ask the deep questions to make sure you understand. Second, repeat it back in your own words, okay, and to verify what was said. And then third, ask if you got it right. Okay, so if she says we're talking about bills, or we're talking about the kids, or whatever it is, and whatever she says, this and this and this and this, okay, wait a minute, let me just make sure I understand. This is what you're talking about, and I need to make sure I check my calendar or schedule, whatever, blah blah blah, and you were talking about this and this and this, correct? Yes, that's exactly right. Okay, good. Okay, now. And then ask her, okay, you talking about just these three things, or is there four? Did I miss something in there? Whatever it is, however you want to word it, and then you ask, just say, am I understanding you right? Is that really, did I get that right? That's such a powerful sentence. Did I get that right? Okay? Because what you're asking is you're asking for permission to acknowledge that you were listening. Because she's going to come back and go, no, that's not what I said. Here's what I said. And then you have an opportunity to do this process again and correct and dig a little deeper, ask a better question, respond back repeat it back to her, but in your words. And then, okay, now did I get it right? Do I understand what you're saying this time? Now here's what happens. Once she acknowledges that you were listening, that suspicion that's in the back of her mind, because this could have been a difficult conversation, that suspicion disappears. She is immediately put at ease, at least as far as the understanding that you were listening. This is the critical thing to understand. If you follow these steps when you're having a conversation, you've gone through this, you've closed the computer, you've paused the game, whatever it is, because she needs to talk or you need to talk to her. And in that process, you make sure you pay attention, and then you ask a question or two or three, whatever's necessary. You're asking these deep questions. And then you follow that up by saying it back to her, what your understanding of it is in your words. Then you follow that with, do I understand you correct? Did I get that right? And once she says yes, and again, it's probably going to be clunky the first time, right? It's going to be a little clumsy. Maybe the first few times you do this. But if you will do this, when you finally drill down to number 3, and when you drill down to number 3 and she says, yeah, that's right, that's what I was trying to say, or that's what I meant, or whatever, when she gets there, you'll never see it. But in the back of her mind, the suspicion goes away that you weren't listening. Now she trusts. Now she believes that you were listening. This is how you become a super communicator. If I would have known this years and years ago, I think it would have made a huge impact and potentially a devastatingly good difference in my marriage. And I wanted to do that for you. Now, you're going to find, again, just like I found, once I learned this, you're going to find that you're going to take this and apply it to everything. Negotiations, conversations at work, terminating somebody, hiring somebody, just all of the daily aspects of life. You will find everyone will feel as if in time you are some kind of a super communicator. All because you're making sure, by taking these 3 steps, you are making sure that they were heard, and you're taking it even a step farther and making sure through this process that they feel as if they were heard. And when a person feels heard and understood, it changes everything. So this, gentlemen, is how you become a super communicator. This is the secret to communicating your spouse all the time really, but especially when you are in a struggling or failing marriage, when every conversation has the potential to be disruptive. Okay, this is how you become a super communicator. So very quickly, here they are. Listen, obviously, you know that. You know to, again, close the laptop, pause the game, do all the things we've talked about before. But here they are, right? Looping for understanding. Ask the deep questions. Repeat back in your own words what you heard them say. So there's no question. There's no ambiguity. You're on the same page because you said the same thing, just in your words instead of hers. And then finally just ask, did I get that right? And once you both land there and agree, yeah, she looks at you and says, yeah, you got that right. That's what I meant. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. What happens in that moment is the suspicion that she had about you listening and about this potentially difficult conversation is gone. And you will begin step by step, conversation by conversation, to become a significantly more impactful communicator. And this could very easily be one of the most significant things to impact your struggling or failing marriage for the better. Guys, that's it today. I know it was short and simple and sweet, but this can be huge. You need to take this to heart. Get into the show notes. Write down these 3 things. Learn to apply this in all aspects of your life, but especially in these difficult conversations that you have to have during a failing or struggling marriage. My name's Terry, guys. I look forward to the next time when we're all here together. This is the Men Save Your Marriage podcast and show. Thank you. Tell your friends. Make sure to please like and subscribe. And thank you. And I will see you here the next time. Have a great day.